Since we're all jumping on the bandwagon here.
How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow?
Wouldn't be a show without it.
What did Burgundy do with Anchorman? How did he? I'm trying to remember how he got ready for his broadcast.
I like rum.
So disappointed in the second one, though. I was so disappointed.
I didn't see it yet.
I should have known better. I should have known.
What did you expect? Godfather 2? I mean,
It was so bad. It was so bad comparatively.
Can I? All right. So
I gotta turn my video off because I don't have a face for television.
can I just be honest here for a second?
You cannot.
And
you can try.
Be extremely confused as to what the hell is going on with these lines.
Well, we'll talk about it. Let's save it for group, man. Save it for group.
Yeah, but all right, hold on. I'm gonna send a message in chat since we are live.
I gotta call up the Q&A. Hold on. Q&A.
Put the lines up? Oh no, you're gonna hold on to them. All right.
Yeah.
Go check this.
Yeah. All again. The keyword is FAIR. That's the keyword.
Okay, because I think being critical is extremely fair at this point.
Analysis is not kissing ass. Analysis is meant to be honest. And
If it was me, it would be Martin taking a seat and Suzuka still playing. I don't get Martin.
Let's not waste our efforts. Save it for the show.
All right, let's go live.
We are live. I'm waiting for the viewer numbers to go up a little bit, and then we'll actually start the show.
Yeah, the link just went out. I put it on Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit.
Thank you.
And for some reason, my app that plays our intro music isn't opening.
Remember the 5th of November.
Today's a flux capacitor day, or?
I love that movie.
Yes, it is. Very important day. That's why Eric Bolton's playing.
You guys see V for Vendetta?
Yes.
I read and seen that.
Love the movie.
Masterpiece.
Love the movie.
The graphic novel is lightning years.
Love the movie. Love the message.
I love
it.
Mike, have you read the V for Vendetta graphic novel?
No, I have not.
Dude, you have to. It's like Watchmen and V for Vendetta are fantastic.
Also, Bailey skated yesterday. No contact jersey. That's good.
Contact jersey. Yeah.
Skating today again.
Yeah, that shows how fucking much I've been paying attention to this shit lately.
Remember the 5th of November. Mm-hmm. Rangers Red Wings about to face off.
Yo, that Tarasenko goal was nasty.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. Pete says, "Don't think the questions are working."
For him, maybe.
Yeah, we blocked him. Sorry, Pete.
Sorry, Pete. Go to bed. Go to bed, kid. Go to bed.
I don't see any questions. I'll tell you that.
Good. Let's keep it that way. Thank you.
I'd love for that to work. That's awesome.
That's one of the funnest parts. I hate talking to you guys.
The funnest.
The funnest.
Funnest. One of the funnest parts.
The funnest part.
Where's the pregame? I don't see the pregame.
Pregame's up.
The pregame's been up, son.
Oh, there it is. I got
7
it.
o'clock, my man.
I got it. Oh shit, that's a nasty picture.
It is, isn't it?
All right.
Who
Can
wrote this?
Wait. Are we hold on. We going blue here? We're gonna curse throughout the whole show. Is that what we're doing?
No, not at all.
I don't mind going blue. Trust me. I'm good with that. Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth.
Yeah.
Quack, 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 Mr. Goalie.
That's a great pick. That is a great pick.
Want to grab it?
Yeah, that is a fantastic pick, Andy. Nice
I found
job.
that thanks to our USA Today, man.
Hmm.
That
These
is-
lines.
That's exactly how you're going to beat a freaking team that's 10-3,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Crash into the goal.
Mm-mm-mm.
Oh, Chris Kreider. Just Kreider it all night.
Kreider it, that's all.
Kreider it.
Mm-mm-mm.
Travis,
I don't see any
Travis
questions.
Hamonic.
He's usually good for a couple, so.
Mm-mm.
Mr.
Why would
Anderson.
they not be working? That makes no sense.
Mm. Mm-mm. Do not
They worked last
approve.
week when I created the Hangout. I'm just saying.
Well, look at what you have
Do
here.
not approve.
Koolman is on the top line. Yeah, you're welcome.
I
Wonder
do
where he
not
got that
approve.
idea.
I do not approve of this.
Listen, you. Read the article that Wilhoff deftly put together for me, and you'll see why it makes freaking sense.
George Pays keeps tweeting. He is relentless.
Who?
Relentless.
Who?
George Pace on Twitter.
Oh, hold on. Let me go.
Relentless.
Let me go to the Twitters.
He's just, oh my God.
Did you just call it the Twitters?
The
Funny.
Twitters.
The Twitters. He called it the Twitters.
The Twitters. Wait. What's his last name?
Pace.
Pace.
Relentless. By the way, the Ducks have sent Bobkoff back to Norfolk, which means that LaBarbera and Anderson will be dressed. One of them's going to start.
Well,
God
you
damn it.
the 50-50 chance there. Wait, is he on your feed? Let me just go to your feed.
Yeah. Bolton on line 1. Cappy trying Bolton on the first line.
I think there was a shift last year where Bolton got caught on a change and he was out there with Tavares, and I was flipping out. It was the best 10 seconds of the season. Let me tell you.
Oh man, that's too much.
Tavares was just short of pushing him back to the bench. Like, get the fuck out of here.
George Pace, here he is. Norwich.
Nobody sees any questions, right?
No, I don't see any questions yet.
Blues power play only 2 for their last 21. The Rangers have killed 16 in a row. Homo Tarasenko. Oh my God! And he scores with an
Well, that should be our intro.
Filthy.
Now he goes. How funny? George goes. How funny is that? And then he goes DP and net. Oh my Lord. Who's umming? Who's umming?
Not I.
That goal.
Okay, I don't think anybody knows that we're actually on, or nor do they care.
We got 1 viewer so far. Oh, there's 2.
Don't forget, we get 90% of our views after it's edited and put up on iTunes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And by the way, I'm speaking to that Ticket Monster guy, seeing if he wants to buy ad space on the podcast. I'm treating that separately from the deal that I signed for the website. I'm working on him separately to see if he'll buy ad space on the podcast.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
That is sweet.
I told him what I did after researching a little bit. I set a price of $75 per episode. Buy 4, get 1 free.
Okay.
We'll start out with that. We'll see what he says. I mean, I'm hoping I can hook him. But I told him what we'll do is we'll do a sponsored by read at the beginning, and then we'll do a live read during our brief intermission in the middle of the show.
That works.
That's what he'd be buying.
That works for me.
Looper. No, okay, Looper. Jack. So I tell him I'm a pro, Jack. Then what do you think?
What the hell is that?
Not me.
The Dalai Lama himself. The 12th son of the Lama. The flowing robes, the grace, bald.
All right, let's get this started.
I gotta find a new intro song for today
Okay, I'll find one quickly.
because my app's not opening, so we gotta go. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Hold on.
I wish we could use like real music. That'd be nice.
Justin Bourne. Mike, you see Bourne?
No,
Mike?
what'd he say? What'd he say?
He goes, deja vu walk. He's skating for the first time tonight in like years. So he's
Oh,
like
boy.
deja vu walking into the rink. Turns out it's Olympic ice, so F me.
All right. I guess let's do this shit. New intro music, because Shane dropped the ball and none of his applications are working. But from the fourth line in Bridgeport to the first line in Long Island, this is this week's Stump and Chase podcast, and we are in pregame mode as the New York Islanders, they get set to play a 10:30 p.m. game against the Anaheim Ducks. I always go to call them the Mighty Ducks. I don't know if that's just me or if that's everybody else too.
It's habit.
I always call them the Mighty Ducks, and I don't know if it's because that's what they used to be or if it's because those are the greatest movies ever made for kids.
Well, part
Can't
one.
quite
was,
deny.
at least.
Well, listen, all three of them were pretty good. Part one was the best.
Mike's a
All
big
three were pretty good. Mike?
Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan. Second one.
And that's why he's the best in the business, folks.
A man of few words.
We have a ton of Islanders talk to get to. Let's start it off with. I don't know if I actually want to get into this, but
You know you do.
You know you
But,
do. Let's just go round robin and say how we feel about these Islanders at the end of October. Let's just do that.
let's start off with what started as a 4-0 dynamic start that fans and media and everybody thought that this was going to be a powerhouse team early on in the season, and now the Islanders are sitting looking at a 6-5 record, one game over 500, with a chance to either put themselves 2 games over 500 tonight or find themselves at the 500 level for the first time all season. Against a very good Ducks team, a team that can most certainly send the Islanders to 500 for the first time this season, a team that tends to have their way with most of the Eastern Conference, not just the New York Islanders. This is a team that I think most teams don't want to go out and play on a nightly basis. It looks like they will be getting Anderson back. Unsure as of right now if he will start, as there's still about 2 hours and 15 minutes until game time, and he is a game time decision, but it looks like there's a good chance the Ducks will have their goaltender back, and we won't be facing a third-string goalie, as I think most people were hoping for. Something that could help the Islanders get off to a good start here tonight, something that could help them get back on track and bring themselves back to the hockey they were playing earlier on in the season. Now, I have my opinions on why I think they're not playing as well, and I have my opinions on what I think could be done, but let's go around the horn and let's see what we got. Let's start with Rich. Rich, what's going wrong for the Islanders right now?
I really think it's that PK, the whole system, the whole PK unit, and everything that these coaches have implemented has just not. It just hasn't synced with this talent, and that coupled with the first line's inability to ferment any kind of chemistry. So we see Kuhlman on tonight's line. We'll get into that in a moment, but I think it's systematic. I think it's systemic. I think it's something that the Islanders need to truly regroup. I hope they fixed it in the last 3 days, but I don't know. It's definitely a chemistry thing. What do you guys think?
Mike?
Yeah, I guess I'll kind of echo that thought. I think Grabner being out is hurting the PK a lot more than we'd like to admit. And, you know, we always kind of knock him for not being able to score on the breakaway. He has all the speed in the world, but he can't put the puck in the net. But his role on the PK, I mean, if he's not there, then the other team can move the puck at will, it seems. And so in addition to Grabner being out, I think Bailey's injury was ill-timed. I think they were doing okay with him in the lineup, and then he drops. And all of a sudden the lines get shuffled, and Capuano's a little bit in scramble mode, trying to find a set of lines that will click. And if he's changing them every other shift, it's very hard to get the cohesion. So I think it's mostly injuries. Reagan and I wrote that post a couple days ago about how they're better than what their record says. I mean, the numbers indicate they're outplaying their teams or their opponents, but they're just not getting the bounces right now. So I think that'll tend to level out as we go. And then obviously getting Bailey and Grabner back will be huge.
Yeah, I think Mike and Reagan's post the other day pretty much killed it from a fancy stats or advanced stats perspective. It was really an excellent post, really laid out in layman's terms that made it easy for everybody to understand. And the only problem with advanced stats that I have is you don't get any points in the standings for advanced stats. And I think at the end of the day, the Islanders right now are not winning hockey games. You know, they've lost 5 of their last 7 heading into tonight. Against the best team in the National Hockey League right now, with the leading goal scorer in the National Hockey League, with the addition of Ryan Kessler on the second line, with the defense that, you know what, no matter who's playing goal, even if it is Jason LeBarbara tonight, which it might be still, that defense is just playing so well right now that I don't really think it matters. You're looking at a team that's given up, I believe, 24 goals in 13 games, under a 2 GAA, and it's concerning, you know, from an Islanders perspective. I think the problem for me is we're seeing some of the old habits show themselves again. We're seeing turnovers at the offensive blue line leading to odd man rushes the other way. We're seeing the other night 2 men step up at the blue line and pinch, and Matt Martin failed to pick up his guy late for the goal that made it 3-1 San Jose. We're looking at 2 defensemen going behind the net on one guy, leaving him wide open forward in front for an easy one-timer over Halak's shoulder.
That was
it's
Hickey.
all the problems that we saw last year. The PK, as bad as it's been, is nothing new. It was horrible last year. It's horrible this year. So I don't think, you know, it's all these other problems, and you kind of have to say to yourself, what are these guys not getting? You know, it's basic stuff that was taught at its most elementary level when they were young, and what are they just not getting?
Well, Andy, you mentioned this before, and I actually echoed this on the piece that we're writing for Friday. I started to look at this, what you call the passive box. Isn't that what you called it a couple of days ago?
Yes, on the PK.
On the PK. And,
Yeah.
and I think that, you know, when you see it in action, it allows the offense to kind of like lurch in, slowly closing that. You know, they kind of circle the wagons around the Islanders, and they pinch them in until they are on top of Halak, and all they do is fire at will like a turkey shot, man.
Right.
You need to play you need to play a diamond. You need to be a lot more. You can't allow your opponent to cycle the puck. That's the point. You got to keep them in the perimeter, play the periphery game, push them away, and have their backs to the net, so that you can then break out with a Grabner, you know, down the middle, if you will.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I thought the PK, when it started to turn a little bit of a corner last year, looked its best when they were uber aggressive, right? When they were just pressuring the puck. It really doesn't lend itself to giving the offense any time to set up. And I think this passive box that they seem to be playing right now, and you know what, that points finger directly in the face of coaching, because that's systematic. That passive box is not working, and we're now going into game 12, and the reluctance to change from it is alarming. It's just very alarming to me.
Real quick before we move on, I think, are they trying to compensate for the lack of Grabner? They feel they don't have someone who can press the puck at the top, so they said, you know what, let's not get out of our lines, let's not let that backdoor open up, and let's just try to tighten up a little bit, keep them to the outside, make them shoot from 20 or 30 or 40 feet.
Very good, very great point, Mike, and that's possible, but at the end of the day, it's still not that's not working.
Right. I mean, they need to figure out something. It's obviously not working, but I think when they went in, they were like, you know what, let's tighten up a little bit and just, you know, they're going to beat us. It's going to be a good shot. But right now, it's
great
like
point.
You said, 12
But
games
they exactly, Mike, and they let them lurch in. They let them squeeze in and circle, and you can see that circle that they make around the defense. It gets smaller and smaller with every cycle, with every pass. I've been paying attention ever since Andy mentioned that term, and it is as passive as I've ever seen a PK. I've seen games, and I don't see anybody else playing that style except the Islanders.
You know, when I coached, and I'm not sure Shane can back me up on this because he coached as well, coached and coaches. Actually, I don't coach anymore, but I never liked to play a passive style in any form of the game, to be honest.
Especially the penalty kill.
Right, but I always played that kind of high tempo, pressure the puck in all three zones, and as Shane said, especially on the PK, that's just not a time. You think to yourself, like, theoretical logic would say, okay, we're down in man, we need to be passive, but
Right.
in hockey terms, it actually is, for me anyway, I found it to be the flip side. You have to actually almost be more aggressive in that case, because again, if you allow, especially at this level, those holes to open up, the opponent's power play team is going to find them more often than not.
Absolutely. The thing that gets me about the Islanders' penalty kill the most, like you said, Andy, is the minute you sit back, you give the other team way too much time to pick you apart.
Right.
If you make a small mistake but you're aggressive, they have less time to utilize and to take advantage of that mistake. If you make a mistake and you're just sitting back on your heels, letting them view the ice and see everything that they can see, they're going to make you pay.
Right.
Which is why, if you notice, when the Islanders' power play is at its worst, is when we're playing against a highly aggressive penalty kill.
That's absolutely 100% correct. That was what Mikey said. Mikey's saying that maybe they're playing passive because Grabner's not there to have the breakout. And I
agree with Mikey, and to Mikey's point there, Rich, and sorry,
no,
quick. To Mikey's point there, I agree with him, and I think that is the worst thing a team can do, is change your entire game style because one player is out. And the only player on this team that would be worth changing your game plan around is John Tavares.
Yeah.
Michael Grabner is not worth changing. You have Corey Conacher, who in my opinion could rival Michael Grabner's speed. You have Grabowski, who is deceivingly quick. You have Clutterbuck, who I think is a lot quicker than people give him credit for,
And you have
and
Kuhlman.
Casey Cizikas. There's no reason that the Islanders should turn around and say, Michael Grabner's out, now we have to play a more reserved penalty kill because we don't have that person who can go out there and, for lack of a better word, disrupt the penalty kill with their speed.
Well, think about it this way too, right? When did the Islander power play starts out scorching hot?
Mm-hmm.
Teams, as I think Rich just said it, teams then start adapting to that via game tape and video.
Mm-hmm.
They start being more aggressive with the Islander power play, not allowing guys like Tavares and Oposo to handle the puck, and they took away Johnny Boychuk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They started having a guy stay really up high, close to Boychuk, taking away that booming shot. And as soon as that structural change was made against the Islanders, the power play went right in the tank.
Because they can't
The
adapt.
Islanders didn't make the adjustment. Right.
I also, Andy, I don't know if you agree with me, and guys chime in. I honestly think that the power play started getting a little bit, I think it started to slip a little bit when Wisnowski returned and he became the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, go ahead, Shane.
I'm right to your point, Rich, and I was about to bring this up. I think I wanted to switch into the power play because I think taking Boychuk off that first power play and putting Wisnowski on was the biggest mistake that the coaching staff has made this season. Of all the other things that fans and us have criticized and been upset about, I think the power play is the worst decision they've made by automatically plugging Wisnowski back in. Yes, he was great there last season, but there's someone new, and there's no reason for Johnny Boychuk not to be on that first power play.
Not only that,
None
Viz should have been given time to work his way back into the system.
Yeah.
Right. And then if he deserved it, let him play.
Right.
Yeah, it's not even. Well, I was just. It's not even about deserving it. I think that you just don't fix what's not broken. I don't know, Mike. What do you think? Do you see it that way? Do you see Boychuk getting demoted to the second pairing on his power play is actually hurting the Islanders, even though they're fourth in the league? They could be so much better if Boychuk's pairing up with Leddy on the first pair.
Yeah, so I think there's two things with the power play. Obviously, a lot of those goals were kind of lucky. Brock Nelson stood in the way of a couple shots and scored. So that was not going to continue no matter who's shooting the puck. But I think the two things that have changed with it, with Wisnowski coming back, is one, they wanted to slot him in because he was the PPQB, and he's going to be the guy to carry the puck. They like the way he comes out of the zone and carries it and sets everything up. Not necessarily that he shoots better than Boychuk, which he doesn't, but that he carries it and kind of, he has that history. They know what he can do on the power play, so I think they were eager to put him back there just because they're used to it. And the second thing is Capuano tends to play guys he has faith in. So he knows what he's going to get from Wisnowski, and he is, what's the word? He's a little too loyal to his guys, I think. Loyal to a fault, I guess is the saying. And he felt that Wisnowski, as soon as he was ready to go, he's going to get him some easy minutes on the power play and let him do his thing. Yeah. And the fact that Boychuk started out so well, now you open the door when you put Wisnowski back in there. If things kind of fall apart, it's, oh man, Capuano's a terrible coach. What's like you said, Rich? Don't fix what's not broken, right? Mm-hmm. But I think they're just more comfortable with him. He knows kind of how they want to run their power play, and Capuano has faith in his guys to do what he's seen them do in the past.
Yeah, see, the only thing I don't agree with that from a coaching perspective is, as a coach, you have to be just as adaptable as your players have to, right? I mean, we just talked about how the power play is not adapting. Well, you know what? The coaching has to adapt as well, and you need to recognize the fact that, well, hold on a second. Maybe even with Wisnowski coming back, here I have a guy in Nick Leddy, who we just acquired this year, 23 years old, who is, if you want to go to advanced stats, has outstanding zone entry numbers.
Absolutely,
probably one of the most fluid skaters in terms of transition that we've seen on this team in a long, long time. You have to, as a coach, recognize that, wow, maybe I have a new Wisnowski here. Maybe I have a guy who could do it better.
Who's bigger, faster, younger.
Not even the chance is really, really alarming to me. I'm sorry, it's really alarming to me. The adjustments that the Islanders don't seem to make, or are slow to make, or are ignorant to make, stubborn to make, from the bench.
It's stubbornness to the point of superstition, almost. I almost feel as if the
like you said, favorites, right? I mean, he's got his pets, and
I don't know if whatever it is. I agree with you, Andy. I pound for pound, Leddy is our best defenseman. I mean, Boychuk's he's a fan favorite, and he's got an awesome shot.
But in terms of skating, transition, moving the puck out of your zone,
he's our number one D-man.
I agree,
and I mean that he's light years ahead of
capacity.
Huh?
In that capacity.
He's forget it. Absolutely.
The thing that scares me the most, guys, and I agree with you in the Islanders' lack of adjustment, is that not only do they lack adjustment on the fly in the game, but then they lack the adjustments after the game when they have time to sit down and watch the video and discuss, and they don't have to do it right there, split-second decision on who to put out. They have time to sit down, watch video, discuss it amongst themselves, and they still fail to make, in my opinion, the necessary adjustments. And I think a very good example of that is tonight's lineup. And on this show we've supported Jack Capuano and Garth Snow and the decisions they've made, but it's getting tougher and tougher for me to fairly defend them. And looking at today's lineup, I'm confused. I'm thoroughly confused.
You're almost speechless.
Wait, hold on, Shane. If you're going to, because I'd love for us to discuss this. I mean, because I know you feel passionate about Brock Nelson. Are we going to talk about the fact that Brock Nelson's not on the first line?
No, because my adjustments have Brock Nelson right where he is as the third line center.
Okay, right. Then that's fine.
Let's discuss one by one. I mean, the first line, Tavares obviously with Oposo, and Nikolai Kulemin's been moved up to that first line, which I know Rich loves.
Which can I just say one thing real quick?
Yes.
I'm getting a little sick of the Tavares, obviously, with Okposo, because Okposo does not look like last year's Okposo. I think we need to get past
a lot of Michael hopefully back me up on this. A lot of Okposo's problems this year have been, I think, related to puck luck, in my opinion.
I wouldn't go as far as the luck part. I think he's maybe trying to do a little too much. We've seen him turn it over at the blue line. I don't know how many times.
Yeah, that we've seen. Yeah.
I think the two of them are, Mike.
Go ahead.
No, you go, Mike, because I'm going to agree with you.
Well, all right, great. So first, Shane, to your point about the in-game adjustments, I think I agree with your point about the after-the-game adjustments. If they have time to break down tape and they know what they're going to have going into the next game, why not make the necessary adjustments and ice your best lineup? So, yeah, I agree with that. The in-game adjustments, I think they have been pretty good at making. They haven't been as effective, but they've been good at making them. Capuano has been very quick. We've seen him in the first period, first 5 minutes, changing up lines. And I feel like he can't win Because if he doesn't change the lines, people will yell at him for a loss. When he does change the lines and they lose, they
People
say he
yell
can't
at
keep
him.
a consistent lineup. You really
Right.
can't win that way. It's the
Yeah.
post-game adjustments that I take issue with. But for the lineup for tonight, and as far as Oposo goes, I think he has to stay on the first line. I think he just needs to kind of find it, and I don't know how you do that. If you demote him, then he tries to do even more, and he turns the puck over 10 times a game at the
Right.
blue line instead of 2.
I
I
have
don't think he's been unlucky. I think he's just he doesn't really know what his role on that first line is, and maybe that has to do with the left wing inconsistency. He doesn't know if he's supposed to carry the puck. Is he supposed to go to the corner? What is his role on that line? I think he'll figure it out as he goes. I don't think there's a need for a demotion there.
I think Mikey has absolutely, that's poignantly put. I agree. I think that what you have is a befuddled Oposo, and I think Kuhlman solves that problem. Here's why. A, you now have a definitive, proven, battle-tested back checker in Nikolai Kuhlman. So that's going to improve tonight, even if we lose. We're going to see a much more responsible and much more conscientious first line. Secondly, I think with Kuhlman's size and his ability to open up space, Oposo can crash net and let Tavares do his thing inside the slot. So I honestly think this is going to work until, like you said once before, Mikey, until Bailey comes back. When Bailey comes back, then you have to reshuffle the lines.
my biggest problem with our first line right now is I think in his head, John Tavares still thinks he is the only answer to, and I don't mean this in a cocky, big ego way. I think he still has come to terms with the fact that he actually has help finally. And I think he's trying to put the team on his shoulders even though he no longer has to. 2 years ago, last year, we relied on John Tavares to be the best player in the NHL. Right now, we don't need him to do everything. We don't need him to be Atlas and carry the world and the team on his back. We need him to be the star number one center that he is and let lines 2, 3, and 4 play their roles. I think he's putting too much pressure on himself to be the best, and I don't think he's allowing himself to just play his game. In my opinion, he's gripping the stick too tight. And I'm not nitpicking his game. Obviously, he's the best player, one of the best players in the NHL, one of the best players in the world.
Stop right there. I'm gonna have to stop you right there because that's exactly the problem. What you just did, in my opinion, was the whole problem with fans who call out Capuano, rightfully so at this point. Fans who call out Corey Conacher, which, in my opinion, isn't rightfully so at this point. Nobody mentions how poorly John Tavares has played the last, I'm going to say, 4 games.
You haven't asked.
What you did is you just did that, but then you kind of like eased it a little bit. Well, we know he's the best.
Well, no, because I'm just saying I don't want to nitpick his game because
why not?
For me to sit here and say, oh, he should have turned a little bit sooner or stuff like that is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say he needs to relax. He's you could see that he's not comfortable on the ice. And whatever the reasons are, the minute that changes, this team becomes a completely different team. The minute he becomes the John Tavares he was last year before the injury, 2 years ago when we made the playoffs, and he stops putting all this pressure on himself, is when this team becomes a completely different team because it allows him to play to the level that he had been. He has not been John Tavares. And I would agree with you.
He needs to get his head straight. Whatever's in his head, he needs to get it straight.
All right.
And I had originally thought it was the pressure of the captaincy.
Nah.
I don't think it's that. I really honestly feel I think he's putting too much pressure on himself to be the best that he can be rather than just going out there and being it.
Well, unfortunately, as Mike and Rich know, we'll never know because he just, it's not something you can even talk to John about. I mean, he gives very calculated, carefully thought out answers to the press. He doesn't. So it's something that, unfortunately, we'll never know what's in his head right now, but I know his head's not right. At the end of the day, it's just not right.
Before we move on to goalies, guys, I just want to talk real quick about adjustments to the lineup, and that is Bolton in the lineup I'm fine with. I like that gritty, hard-nosed, grinding kind of hockey, the tough guy, especially against a team like LA. I'm fine with Bolton being in the lineup. It's who he replaced and who's still in the lineup that I'm not okay with. I love Matt Martin. Love the game he played. Think he's been one of the worst Islanders this season. He's not he's not playing his hockey. I think he's trying to do too much. I think that's a common problem with the players on this team right now. I think they're all trying to do a little bit too much, but I don't think Matt Martin has earned his keep and earned his spot on this team, and I would rather have seen Bolton take his spot than the spot of Casey Cizikas.
I just think, Shane, I think you're right in saying what you're saying, but I think it's just, I don't think Martin's game has changed all that much. I just think the team has changed, and he stayed the same. So now...
That's a great point.
Yeah, I think his inefficiencies, if you will, his inadequacies are now much more glaring because the team dynamic is completely night and day. I mean, it's just a much faster, much more scoring-oriented team. It hits are a byproduct for us now. I mean, they are important, but this is a skating team. You know, you have Grabowski, you have Kuhlman, you have Lee, you have Brock Nelson. These are guys who are netminders. You know, like they just have goals written in their head. They're just thinking goals, goals, goals. And Martin's thinking hits, hits, hits. And it's not that like that anymore. It's like 3 years ago, Matt Martin was one of the most important Islanders on his team. Now he's an afterthought at this moment in time.
That's a great point, Rich. I don't want to write him off entirely, but you're right. The team has changed to the point where his skill set no longer lines up with what the team is trying to do. I'm not saying they need to get rid of him. I mean, every team needs a guy like that. Just like the NHL is getting away from the enforcer role, the Islanders have moved away from, we just need to hit everybody, and maybe if we score a goal, that's okay. They expect to outscore teams. And when you have a guy like Martin who is still doing his job is to hit people. He'll kill penalties. He'll apparently play. He'll start the game. You know, he'll play right after a goal, but that's an issue for another day. You know, Capuano uses his fourth line. But I think the issue I have, or I guess non-issue with Bolton in the lineup tonight for Cizikas instead of Martin, is Martin is doing what's expected of him. Cizikas is not doing what's expected of him, and that's what Capuano said today to Staple. He said, "I just wanted to sit him. He has 0 points in 11 games played. You know, he's under 50% face-off. He's out there to win face-offs and forecheck."
That's right.
And so far to date, you know, he hasn't really stood out to me as the guy who's doing his job as well as Martin is doing his. That's not to say that Cizikas is a worse player than Martin. It's just that Capuano looks at it too and says, well, if I'm going to send a message and get a guy to clear his head, maybe Cizikas is the one who takes the night off tonight. And it's still early in the season, so it's not like it's a critical, you know, late season game, let's put Bolton in. You know, it's more of a, like you said, Cizikas needs to clear his head, and if it came down to it, he's going to pick Cizikas to sit over Martin because Martin is doing his job, for lack of a better term.
I just don't like seeing Strome in that fourth line spot. That's just, to me, that's just a waste of one of your more talented players.
Is it?
I really think it is, because yes, him and Conacher could develop some kind of chemistry. And Mike, I know you love Bolton, so please forgive me. But what is Bolton going to do next to Brian?
But you know what? It's not about Mike's love of Bolton at all. That's really irrelevant to the conversation. What's relevant to the conversation is this, which was started by somebody supposedly in the mainstream media, about this ridiculous notion that Jack Capuano hates Ryan Strome.
Yeah, where did that
I think I literally saw that from somebody who claims to be in the mainstream media, that Jack Capuano has something personal against Ryan Strome, and that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, read, seen. I think I might have went blind temporarily after I saw it. And look, Ryan Strome, since training camp, has had an issue, in my opinion. Let me say that carefully here. With what seems to be his preparation. All right, I saw it in camp. Capuano saw it in camp. They talked to him. He got better late in camp. Now seems to kind of have fallen back into that mental state. I don't think he's been good at all. He hasn't been winning any puck battles whatsoever. He still doesn't look to me strong enough on the puck. There's been a couple of instances this year where he had a chance to outrace a defenseman down the boards, where it looked like he originally had a step and didn't happen. This is a fifth overall pick who I think should be a lot more visible than he's been when he's on the ice.
I agree with you 100%, Andy. I'm telling you one thing. Strome better get his act together, because in a few years, if Joshua Ho-Sang and Michael Dal-Coll get their act together, goodbye, Ryan Strome. I'm telling you.
All right, so let's talk about adjustments that we would like to see. and what we think could make this lineup better. Obviously, Josh Bailey coming back will help this lineup and will give us more options. And he skated 2 days in a row non-contact jersey, so I guess his return is coming, but it's not quite yet. I would love to see Anders Lee on that first line. I've been a proponent of that since they pulled him up. I think Anders Lee brings to that first line what that first line needs. I thought Nelson did it. I thought Nelson did as well, but I'd rather see Nelson play center because I think Nelson could be just like Franz Nielsen, who is defensively responsible. I don't think he'll ever be as defensively good as Franz, but he could be defensively responsible and can chip pucks in and knows how to play in the offensive zone.
Okay.
But I think Lee brings aggression combined with skill to that first line that I think could be what the first line needs.
Okay, but here's the one thing. All right, I agree with you 100%. And in fact, I'm going to say that's a very good idea. But let me ask you this. All those attributes that you just attached to Anders Lee, could you easily attach them to Nikolai Kulemin?
I think Anders Lee is more skilled than Nikolai Kulemin, pure talent-wise.
I agree.
I agree with you, but Anders Lee cannot back check, not like Kulemin can. And that's what you need right now.
That's a good point. Yep, that's a good point.
That is a big positive for that first line because as good as they are offensively, that first line is miserable defensively.
Exactly. It's like three Carmelo Anthonys are up there.
But I really I really think Anders Lee could make the difference on that line in the offensive zone. Then I would have the second line be Grabowski, Nielsen, and Kulemin because I think they were the best line on the team when they were together.
Well, Lee's had his opportunities to play with that couple on the power play.
Yeah.
So if he shows that kind of chemistry on the power play, then that might be something, that when Jack shuffles the lines again in 2 games, that'll be something that might see.
But then I could see the third line as this until Bailey comes back. I see the third line as Strome, Nelson, and Clutterbuck.
Strome, Nelson, Clutterbuck. All right. I like that.
Because to me, that's very, very reminiscent of Lee, Tavares, Okposo, because you have Nelson, who to me is Okposo. You have Clutterbuck, who to me is Lee. And then you would have Strome, who to most people should be the quote-unquote Tavares of that line.
I'd swap Clutterbuck for Conacher, but that's just me.
I wouldn't, because then that line is way too small and way too weak. I would not.
To Rich's point, that fourth line when it was Cizikas, Martin, and Clutterbuck, in my opinion, was working.
Yeah.
But then that's where I would have Conacher, Cizikas, and Martin on the fourth line. And then when Bailey comes back, you slide Clutterbuck down, and then Conacher's the odd man out, unfortunately.
It would have to be. Yeah, you would think he would have to.
Which is unfortunate because I don't think he's played himself off of this team yet. He's struggling a little bit now, but I don't think he's played himself off the team.
He's struggling offensively. That's it.
But, right, he does the little things right, which is why
he does every little thing right.
The only thing is when Bailey comes back, Bailey's going to slot into a spot in at least the top 9.
God, the other night in San Jose, there was one forward that was noticeable every shift. There was one forward that was sticking his nose into just about everything he possibly could, and it was the guy that was 5'7".
I'll tell you though, you know who's been one of my
the loss against the Jets, the most noticeable guy on the team that wasn't doing squat diddly, unfortunately, was Conacher, in my opinion.
Right. But the
doesn't matter.
To me, the most underrated person on this team this year is Cal Clutterbuck. He does the little things right.
Enough to where the Islanders are looking to trade him, right?
No, but
doesn't sound like they agree.
But I do think Conacher's the odd man out when Bailey comes back, and then when Grabner comes back, I'm just gonna throw my hands in the air and wait to see what happens.
Okay, what are your thoughts on the lineup, Mike?
I mean, isn't this the thing we were talking about in training camp? Isn't this a good problem to have when it's like, who are we gonna scratch?
Finally, right? Isn't it finally?
Flipping out. People want to burn the season to the ground. We don't have a healthy lineup right now. Where the team is over 500, they haven't iced their full lineup yet in one single game, whether it was the defense that was out, whether it's forwards that were out. When they come together, guys, this is a serious team. This is a playoff contending team.
Agreed.
And people, we hit November and they lose a couple games, and all of a sudden it's throw your hands up, here we go again. I think it's very tough to make lineup calls at this point because so many people are out and so many things are in flux, and Capuano is he's coaching for his job, so he needs to change things up, out of necessity. It's a self-interest kind of thing. I think the one lineup change I would make is whoever's on the fourth line, let's shelter them a little bit and let's see a little bit less ice time. because they're more effective as a forechecking unit, which is, if you're there, they're called the energy line. That's what they do. They're more effective in limited time. I don't want to see them start the game. I don't want them out right after a goal. I want them 8 to 10 minutes a game, and I want them flying. That's really the only lineup change I would make at this point, if you can call it that.
I agree 100% that they see way too much ice time. There's no way they should be seeing the same ice time as a Brock Nelson or an Anders Lee.
Right. There was a post on Lighthouse. I forget who wrote it, but it was really well done. It broke down the line usage, and the Islanders, whoever's on the fourth line, it was the second most used fourth line in the league, I think, and that's not something you want to see.
Exactly.
The only team that should be using their fourth line with third or second line minutes is the LA Kings, and that's because their fourth line is just unreal.
Absolutely.
As for the defense, I think it's time to split up the Boychuk-Leddy pairing. And not because they're not playing well, but because I would love to see a Leddy, Hamonic, Boychuk, DeHaan foursome.
Again, why fake something that's not broken? Why?
Because we've lost 4 games in what is it?
Dan, you know what you do? 5? I agree with you, brother. You know what you do? There's a guy from Oklahoma who's just dying to play hockey this year. How about you actually dress that guy?
I've been all for that. I've been all for that this season. I don't know who he takes out right now. The only person I would see him taking out is Wisnowski. Hickey didn't have a strong game the past. Well, I think it was the past 2 games, but I think he is one of our better, more sound defensemen. He may not be big and he may not throw his body around, but he gets in the right positioning. The only place that Hickey really struggles is if he needs to take care of someone in front of the net because he doesn't have the body size to get the positioning in front of the net. Anywhere else, Hickey is so good on his feet. He's good with his stick. He sees the ice well, and he reads the game well.
No, and he's a battler. I mean, I love the guy.
The only place that for lack of a better term, the only place I cringe when I see Thomas Hickey is in front of the net.
Okay.
Because I know most of the forwards in the NHL are going to be able to outpower him in front of the net and get in an open position. So, to me, the only person that you can take out for Donovan right now is Wisnowski.
I would do it. Sorry. I think Donovan has to bring some sort of positive change to this team, even if it's inadvertent, even if it's because he was there to disrupt something. You have to change. You have to shake this up, and Donovan can bring you that. I'm sorry, Andy. I know is going to probably agree with me to a degree. I don't understand. When I was at the game against Winnipeg, here I see this man dressed and he's practicing. I'm thinking, oh, maybe this is no. And they said, go home, kid.
No.
Not
tonight.
All right. So now, we move on.
Let me just wait. Hold on. I just want to touch real quickly on the Donovan thing for a second.
Yes.
Damn, this is hard. They obviously don't want to send him to through waivers because they think he'll get claimed. Although I tend to think that they might have devalued him to the point where he might not. But that's still a 50-50 risk that Snow would be taking to send him to Bridgeport and actually let the kid play. I do think that having him with the big club, practicing, being around guys like Boychuk and Leddy who have cups, being around that dynamic, I think is good for him. I do. But I personally think that they have him on the team right now just as strictly as insurance because they don't trust Wisnowski making it through the season healthy. My only question was, why did he not at least get a look or two for Brian Straight over these first 12 games?
That was my biggest issue.
I don't have an issue if the defense is healthy with Dono being that insurance and getting that time with the big club, which again I'll repeat I think is vital. But to continually trot out Brian Straight night after night speaks volumes to Mike's point before, which was well said, in that Cappy's got his he's very, very loyal to his favorites to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, so let's move on to the topic I don't think any of us want to touch, and that's Yaroslav Halak and Chad Johnson. Halak has not been a savior yet for the Islanders team. Johnson was good, but also wasn't lights out. I think Halak will improve. The numbers can only go one way now. I think everything will even out and the numbers will improve on Halak. I forget who it was that posted it, but someone posted that his numbers in October throughout his career, and they've always been, for lack of a better word, concerning. What do you guys think about the goaltending situation right now?
It's a situation. It's a freaking
Very
situation.
well said. Very well said. You want to expand on that?
Can we eject Rich?
I'm going to echo my father's sentiment, and he's like, "What's that Russian guy's name again? We should have him, the Nabokov guy." I go, "Listen, Pop, do me a favor." I for one, I agree with you, Shane. I think it will take a turn, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's Johnson is definitely rough around the edges. Halak is just, I think, a timing issue. I think he is definitely the number one, even if he had some pretty bad games. Tonight we'll see what he's made of. He's starting, I hope, right? I didn't catch the last
Halak's in net. Halak's in.
Listen, I'm just going to say this, and I'll leave it at that. I'm going to keep quiet because I want to hear more from Mikey today. Here's what I'm going to say. For whatever reason, there are two distinctive brands of hockey being played right now in the NHL. And that's whatever the hell you want to call the East, and then there's professional ice hockey in the West. I don't see any creativity. I don't see anybody running away with the conference, and no goaltenders from the East are really taking anybody to task. The talent is purely on the West. As far as I'm concerned, Halak, Lundqvist, Rask, they're all having horrible seasons right now. Their teams are struggling, and they're not supposed to be. You want to blame it on the fact that Lundqvist just got off, he had a shorter summer than Halak and the rest of the guys? Fine. The fact of the matter is there is something wrong. There's a power shift in hockey, and it's in the West right now. And I don't see any creativity or any aggressive creativity that can answer the questions that the West is asking. And I've seen a lot of Western hockey, more than I've seen in the last 2 seasons, and it's like watching 2 different leagues. It's 2 different leagues right now, and the West is kicking our ass, man. It's just unbelievable. Look at freaking Winnipeg, man. They came here, and they're playing like the Ducks. They're one of the worst teams in the West. They came
but we should have beat Winnipeg.
Yeah, but we didn't.
But we didn't.
Though it's the freaking Winnipeg Jets, man. They're the Islanders of the West, and now they're playing like.
Mike, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the goaltending? I know you and Reagan, like I said, did a lot of investigative research on your outstanding piece the other day.
So, and we've actually been tracking, I guess, off score sheet metrics, game by game for the goalies. Things like rebound save percentage, rebounds given up, defense covering a rebound as opposed to a goalie icing it, things like that. So, a little more to come on that. Those are pretty raw at the moment. But from what I've seen, I guess I'll take a step back. Goalies play to their averages. They play to the back of their hockey card. They will get to those numbers eventually. We have, I think, what is it, like 4,000 shots or something like that? I don't know. There's some threshold for how, when you know at what point a goalie is what his numbers say he is. Halak is past that. He's past that threshold. He is a .918 career save percentage or something like that, which is better than what we've seen on the island in years. So I think he will get to that, and I'm more prone to let's let things settle, let's let the random bounces even out. He's given up some bad goals, and I think it's very easy, and it's human nature to look at those horrible goals and say, Jesus, I could have stopped that. The Rick Nash goal early in the Rangers game, the couple bad bounces where he was swimming in the crease against the Jets, even the Phil Kessel snapshots. Kessel's a great shooter. He might be the best shooter in the league, but he had a clear line of sight on those.
Yeah, way off his angle on those.
Right,
Yep.
so he just looked to be a little off on those. I think he's going to get there, guys. I don't think he's going to be a sub 900 goalie. It does not stand to reason that he will go an entire season. He's a true number one. He's going to get there. I don't like when I see we need to bench Halak, or Halak is terrible, or I can't believe we signed this guy for 4 years. Who would you rather have at this point? Who are you going to put in? You're going to call Poulin up?
No.
Honestly? So let's all take a step back and realize that Halak is a number one. He will get to his 918. He'll probably surpass it. As bad as he's been now, that's how good he's going to be later. He's going to get above 918 because things act the average, it evens out. He's going to get there. I don't see a need to pull the fire alarm on a guy who's had a couple bad games. If we live game to game, we're never gonna make it through the season. I don't know how some people don't have heart attacks during the season.
And I'd like to tell our listeners that Mike is writing a book called Money Puck. It's coming out in the fall of next year.
Yeah, next year, maybe 20 years from now. But I really don't see the need to overreact to small sample sizes. We haven't even hit the 20-game threshold, so it's very difficult to make an assessment of the team as a whole before you see 20 games worth of data. So I think Halak will be fine. Johnson, his numbers are great, but he was playing in Boston. He didn't really have great numbers in the AHL, but he'll be fine too. They're going to get to their averages, is my long-winded point.
It wasn't long-winded. Well put.
I didn't think so either.
So let's to talk about starting then. Are you guys more for letting Halak be the true number one and just filling Johnson in, or are you going with the hot goalie right now with the team struggling and back to 6 and 5?
Halak's got to play, in my opinion, 80% of the games.
Mm-hmm.
In my
Especially,
Good or bad?
The biggest reason I agree with that is because Halak has been known to be a goalie who plays better with volume.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather him get to that volume than worry about playing the hot goalie.
Agreed. These aren't catchers we're talking about. We're talking about goaltending, and you're right. Volume leads to more. It leads to improvement on
volume leads to continuity, right? And
exactly.
Consistency.
The only way to get more. Yeah, the only way to get more comfortable with your angles and
to play.
To play the angles. So
believe me, Shane and I have been there where we've started our goaltender and kind of, we're on the bench and behind our backs we have our fingers crossed. I know I've done it, but it's truly my belief that you have to have a clear-cut number one. You have to have a go-to. And
let me ask the coaches a question, and you guys, okay? And Mikey, you can chime in as well. So you guys coached, all right? Now, like in baseball, when I coached baseball for like the 5 minutes that I did, you do, if you have two strong catchers, you create some sort of platoon, right? Platooning between the two, and you create a healthy competition. Is that wise to do when you have a Halak and Johnson situation here where both goalies are kind of struggling? And do you think that's healthy for them? It helps improve their game, or is it just like you said?
No, I think you have to have more of a, this is the number one and you're not the number one. As much as that sounds bad, I think your number one has to know, good or bad, you're going to stick with him and he's your number one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you want him to know that the backup could replace you if you become a complete stink show.
Mm-hmm.
But I think goalies are, hockey players are crazy. Goalies are
insane.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah.
There's not even a mental state that can describe a goaltender's head.
I think it's very delicate when dealing with a goalie situation.
Agreed.
I think you have to have a clear-cut number one.
For me, you got to have like I said it before, you got to have your go-to guy. You got to have that guy. We talked about it on a couple of podcasts last year, and I think we might have mentioned it in passing on a couple this year. Confidence, especially in any sport, but in hockey, lack of equals gripping the stick too tight. We talked about that a lot with Josh Bailey and his lack of confidence last year, which pretty much doomed him through that long stretch. But goaltenders especially have to have confidence. They have to go into that crease, knowing that they could stop the puck and knowing that they can get the job done. And when a goaltender is suffering from a lack of confidence, it's just all downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have goaltending, I don't care how good your offense is always going to regress. I don't care how good your defense is playing. If you don't have goaltending, you're going nowhere in this league. Nowhere. And the Islanders have to get that goaltending edge back. Mike's statistical analysis is spot on. They're going to play back to their averages. The thing is, can the Islanders survive in the standings long enough until they start playing to those averages?
Exactly. That's a very good point. But Mikey, let me ask you
quick,
this.
Rich.
Go ahead.
I don't think you can platoon. I'm in agreement there. I think you need a 1 and a 2, clear cut. And this isn't to fall back on and say, oh, he'll play to his average just because that's the way it always is, and math is always right. The numbers don't appear by themselves. Halak has done the work to get to be a 918 save guy. I think he's going to get there again. It just stands to reason. I don't think just by throwing him out there 80% of the games that you're automatically going to get 918 goaltending. I think he has shown, his body of work has shown that he will play better than a backup goalie. So he needs to be your number 1 for that reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good point, Mike.
You gonna say, Rich?
No. You've inadvertently answered it. That's basically what I wanted to say. I think what's the next thing I wanted to talk about with the goalies? What was it? Okay, so we have 3 more games in the West. You guys, all 3 of you, would start Halak regardless of what happens?
No, absolutely not. Johnson starts tomorrow night. Especially if Halak gets shelled. Not. I don't mean shelled as in gives up a lot of goals. I mean, if we give up 30 plus shots, I think you have to see Johnson in net Thursday night.
Okay.
I never like going back to back with the same goalie, which could pose a problem for the Islanders in November because they play back to back tonight, tomorrow. They play back to back the 14th and 15th, the 21st and 22nd, and the 28th and 29th.
Right. So
there's no doubt Johnson plays tomorrow, in my opinion.
But here's the thing: what if just hear me out, coaches. What if Halak gets a shutout tonight?
Nope.
I'm just saying.
I still go Johnson. All right.
Not enough time for a goalie to recover in terms of muscle recovery. Pro or not, trained or not, in shape or not. I just, for a goaltender, the way they move, laterally and up and down, I don't think that's enough muscle recovery.
Okay.
Especially with the workout that I'm expecting him to get tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, the way November plays out, if we go with the true number 1, you've got to go Halak tonight, obviously, Johnson tomorrow. Then Saturday against Phoenix, I go Halak, Otto, Halak. Friday the 14th against Florida, Johnson. Saturday the 15th against Tampa Bay, Halak. Tuesday against Tampa Bay, Halak. Friday against Pittsburgh, Halak. Saturday against Pittsburgh, Johnson. The 24th against Philly, I go Halak. Wednesday the 26th, that's against the Capitals, I go Halak.
Then the Devils, you go Johnson.
No, well then, but then we have Friday.
That game's on the schedule still. Hold on a second.
Then we have Friday.
I think Mikey said he was going to come back from Connecticut to do that game.
I said I was never covering a Devils game. Got it twisted there.
But then Friday against Washington, I go Johnson, and Saturday against the Devils, I go Halak.
I almost look at it as if you have a backup goalie and the numbers back it up. Again, I hate to be that guy with the numbers. But,
but you are that guy.
Statistically speaking, goalies in the second game of back-to-backs, if you look at the splits, he'll post, a 9-10 the first night, and it's sub-9.
Right.
Just like you said, Andy, you get worn out. If Halak pitches a shutout tonight and he faces 5 shots, okay, maybe run him out there again, but that's not going to happen. So I think the way they have to split the games is anytime there's a back-to-back, it's got to be Halak and Johnson.
Mikey, let's not forget, I'm going to make sure everybody hears this, me knocking, hold on. Halak has had muscle injuries in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So there's under no circumstances, even if Halak, it would have to be a 12-shot against shutout for me to even consider bringing Halak back tomorrow.
I still don't even think I would do it.
It's just not enough time for muscle recovery the way those guys move. Just not enough time.
Yeah, that's what Johnson's for. They'll put him out and he'll be fine.
But I do think Halak gets the majority of the work from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got about an hour and 20 minutes until puck drop. Let's do a real quick look ahead. Let's do a real quick look ahead to tonight's game, and then let me go eat my Chinese food that I ordered before. Did we? I don't know if we really did a full look through to the game.
Uncomfortable. There is nothing like uncomfortable silence. I love it.
Did we? I feel. I mean, we did a lot of talking about lack of adjustments and lineups and goalies. I don't think we really did a full look ahead to the game, to the Ducks game tonight. Besides the fact that they're going to face a lot of shots.
Well,
Yeah,
I
let's
was
talk
gonna-
about-
Can you guys answer my question really quickly here, which is, do you believe that there are literally there are two leagues?
Absolutely. The West, in my opinion, the West is the
100%.
much better conference.
Different type of game.
Right. It's like
I
a
mean,
whole different.
I see Rich's point, and I'm not disagreeing with it per se. I just think that it's two totally different, distinct styles of hockey, and I think each is unique in its own right. So I think that you can almost have two leagues, and one's not better than the other per se. It's just different.
Well, and in my opinion, the West has the three best teams in the NHL.
Right. Exactly. Right.
They have the Kings, the Blackhawks, and the
And
Blues.
the Ducks.
And
Oh, see, I think the Blues are better than the Ducks.
I don't know. The Ducks team is pretty good.
I'd be
You
more
know what's
afraid
funny
to
about
play
the
St.
Ducks,
Louis.
though? If you look at the Ducks lineup, like it's littered with names that are, this kind of takes me back to when the Ducks went all the way to the finals the first time, right? And that team, like, you look at it. My point is, you look at this team on paper, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. The fact that they're this good just doesn't make any sense. And
That's what I love about LA.
well, that too. If you look
Is
at
it coaching, maybe.
coaching is number one systematically, which again ties into coaching is number two.
And Jonathan Quick doesn't hurt LA.
Willingness of the players to do what they need to do on a nightly basis. Having players that do what they call the little things. Look at this Ducks lineup: Getzlaf, Perry, and Maroon. Then they have Kessler skating with Smith, Pelly, and Cogliano.
This just in. Just hold on, Andy. Butch Goring just tweeted, Perry and Getzlaf will not play tonight. Strong rumor.
Okay.
I swear to God, he just
Okay.
tweeted that.
Third line is Carlson, Silverberg, and Bolesky.
Mm.
And the fourth line is ex-Islander Nate Thompson with Etem and Jackman. Defense,
Wait.
Boschman, Lindholm, Vatanen, Fowler. Who are these guys? I mean, it's this team shouldn't. What I'm saying is, on paper, this team should not be this good, but they are.
They shouldn't have beat that team from Iceland either, but they did.
God, sports are great, huh?
So I think and I think that's where the Islander fan base really gets into the point, and I think that's kind of how you have to argue if you want to argue against Jack Capuano. That's kind of how you have to do it, and I think that's the problem with social media is it gives everybody a voice, which is good, and everybody's opinion should be heard and respected, which in our case they are, not others, but. You have to learn how to argue. I mean, everything shouldn't be an argument. You can have a healthy, respectful debate, and it doesn't have to always turn into an argument. And I think it's because if your criticisms of Capuano are that, and you have those kind of facts or analysis to back up your opinion, I don't see anything wrong with having that debate. It's
Right, that's the problem. There aren't those facts. Coaching is very hard to quantify one, but aside from the fourth line usage and, his use of timeouts is well documented, things like that, like those are legitimate points where you say, I take issue with points A, B, and C. Don't be like, Capuano looks like a jerk. I hate him. We should fire him. Like that to me, that
He
argument
does
is going
kind of
nowhere.
look like Fred Flintstone.
hold on,
Rich,
Mike. I truly apologize for interrupting you because
No
it's a
problem.
great point. Rich is right. This is coming from the verified Butch Goring
Yeah,
account.
yeah.
thought it was
get right. No.
Strong rumor, both Perry and Getzlaf will not play. Now, is it possible? Now you see. But now what's going to happen, Mike? To your point is now this is going to cause a social media backlash on how we're not respected.
Exactly.
Boudreaux was sitting a healthy Perry and Getzlaf because they're playing the Islanders.
Oh, dude. And then backup net
Win, man. This is not a real win. We didn't really beat the
And
Dogs.
Dwayne, he's not starting Perry, a healthy Perry and Getzlaf, and he's starting Dwayne Rollison.
Yeah,
No
I'm fine with that. If he doesn't start them, that's fine. Don't
Why
respect
would
John
they be
Tavares and let
scratched?
him
That makes
play.
no sense.
Are they
Hold on.
healthy?
Hold on, I'm gonna look. Hold on, I'll get you an answer in 1 second.
Okay, but that's
This is
see,
like
I wasn't-
Popovich.
What,
This is
yeah,
like
I wasn't
Coach-
kidding.
There's like Coach Popovich showing up and not playing Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, or Manu Ginobili that night.
I have
Everyone
nothing.
had
I have.
it.
I
Hold
have
on, I
nothing.
even got an update that Patrick Sharp is out for at least a month.
Well,
Did you,
Patrick Sharp is out for a month. That's confirmed. But we're not playing the Blackhawks though.
Okay, I'm just saying.
There's nothing from the Ducks beat writer Eric Stevens.
No, Eric, let me
about Getzlaf and Perry. So
But why would Butch? Butch's not like that. He wouldn't tweet
I would
out.
think. I would think it's going to come.
It's a
I
game
would
plan.
love if Butch was just doing this just to get all the Islander fans excited.
Would I?
I'd do it.
I would
I'd do
too.
it if I was
Bro.
them.
I would. I'd love it. He'd be like, "Psych," and you spell it like
unless
S-I-K-E.
they're telling Stevens to be quiet at this point, with the game still an hour away. But we'll find out shortly. I mean, the teams are scheduled to take the ice for pregame warm-ups in about an hour and 40 minutes.
I hate calling Game 12 a must-win, but if the Islanders play the Anaheim Ducks without Corey Perry and without Getzlaf, this is a must-win. This is a game you have to come out and show that you could take advantage of an undermanned team, and you have to be able to beat a team without arguably their two best players.
Well, take that lineup I just read to you guys, the Ducks lineup, and take Perry and Getzlaf out of it. Come on. I mean, seriously.
That's what I'm saying. I hate calling Game 12 a must-win, but if Corey and Getzlaf, if Perry and Getzlaf don't play, this is a game the Islanders must win, especially to get themselves back on track. Because the way they're playing, if they lose this game and those two aren't in, that's a big sign for this team.
Okay, you just put the whammy on that right there, man.
You have to. No, I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. I'll do what Andy did. Hold on. Everybody listen close. This is a must-win game in that situation.
I don't see anything in the news either that, I mean, any of these guys got hurt in any way, banged up in the last game. So this is really puzzling to me, and I don't know why Butch would, unless he wouldn't put that out if he didn't know something.
Well,
be
a lot of his
personal.
tweets are kind of questionable, right? I mean,
Sorry?
a lot of his tweets are kind of questionable. Maybe he just sneaks on his phone.
He's gonna tweet out "psych" S-I-K-E, and then he would
No, that's definitely not something Butch would do. Butch wouldn't do something as a psych. I think it's got to be coming from somewhere. But again, I haven't seen anything from Eric Stevens, who's the Ducks beat writer for the
What about Staple?
Orange County Register. So
I didn't see anything from Staple either. I actually have a separate window on my tweet deck just for Staple tweets. And I haven't
that's
seen
weird.
anything yet.
That's weird, but okay, that's what you got to do.
I have two. I have one for all of us from Insight, and then I have one for Staple.
Okay, all right.
I have my feed where everybody just manually retweets Staple a million times.
No, I have just his tweets. I don't know. I have only things he tweets or retweets, not what everyone else retweets of him.
Hold on, let me check something else. Let me put this into TweetDeck and see what I get. Hold on. See if it's coming from anywhere else.
I kind of agree with you, Shane. I think if this is like taking Tavares and Okposo off the Islanders. If you take
Right.
off your two top line guys, your dudes, you take them out of the lineup, the other team needs to step up and be like, all right, we're going to win tonight. This is a game we are going to win. It's not the season's over if we lose game, but we are going to win tonight, and that's just the way they have to look at it. I don't care what the lineup on the Islanders side is. If you're missing your two top players, you got to show up and be like, all right, this is one we should put on the left side, you know?
Yeah, I don't see nothing else coming from any other source about Perry and Getzlaf. I only see that thing that Butch put out 9 minutes ago.
The way I see it, Mikey, is if Perry and Getzlaf are out and the Islanders win, it doesn't say much. It just means the Islanders beat a team that was undermanned.
that they were supposed to win.
Oh, that's
Well,
ridiculous, though,
if-
because now that's like saying that that's like all the people saying that the Islanders were never that good, that their 4-0 start was against teams that were banged up.
No,
like
no,
the Hurricanes
No,
and
but
the-
what I'm saying is if Perry and Getzlaf don't play, a win doesn't say much about the team. If Perry and
Again,
Getzlaf are out,
everything I'm seeing says they're playing. I don't see any reason why. I mean, it's not like they even got nicked up last game. Why would they not play? It doesn't make any sense.
because it's the Islanders and we get no respect.
I'm telling
from the
you,
league.
Butch knows something. He does.
Again, it may go
Maybe-
back to what I said
maybe-
before that that freaking Boudreaux is sitting two of his
Yeah, you
best
sit
healthy
one,
players.
At the other
Maybe-
one the next game. You don't bring them out both at the same time. That doesn't make any
May-
sense.
Maybe Butch gave them food poisoning and the Ducks just don't know it yet.
Something happened. I'm telling you, something strange happened. Henrik Lundqvist just stopped Gustav Nyquist on a penalty shot.
That's impressive because that kid is phenomenal.
1-0 Rangers.
The hell was that?
Interesting.
That
Well,
sounded
we'll
like
see. I don't know if I buy the Perry Getzlaf talk. I don't see anything to back up what Butch is saying, but well, I guess we'll see. We'll see in an hour when they like I said, about an hour and a half now they'll be out for pregame warm-ups, and I'm sure we'll see something shortly thereafter from either Eric Stevens or our staple on on what's going on.
Yikes. Well,
I hate these West Coast games.
I know. I'm probably going to watch the first period, see how it's going, and
I'll probably doze off, even though I don't want to.
I'm gonna watch the whole game because I don't sleep. I have insomnia.
I don't sleep either. I need about 5 hours to function, but so you figure 1 to 6 would be I can function on it. That's my OCD. How I plan that out like that. That's like major OCD.
All right, I think this is the official end of this week's Dump and Chase podcast.
St. Louis breakaway, 2-0 Rangers.
Here we go.
With that is definitely the official end of this week's Dump and Chase podcast.
Definitely.
That's it. Goodbye.
End of this.
The Rangers get no respect because Detroit started Jonas Gustafsson tonight and not Jimmy Howard.
We're not even gonna have a post show after that goal. Goodbye. I'm out of here. I don't even want to talk. No, I'm just kidding.
Kung Pao chicken.
This week's Dump and Chase podcast is officially over, and we've entered post show.
No, you have to sign off, dude. You didn't even sign off.
But it's because I have to do the sign off separately and edit it in because I don't have my app with the song on it for some reason. It won't open. It keeps force closing.
The old force close.
It keeps force closing for some reason. I got to restart my computer.
The old force close.
Too much porn.
By the way, if you guys want to take a look and learn a little bit about our new partner, Ticketmonster,
I'm looking at it right now.
Ticketmonster.com. They're a direct competitor with StubHub. They're claiming low prices, no service fees, always free shipping. So I think if we can get people to buy tickets from Ticketmonster instead of StubHub using the link that'll be on our site, that'll be very beneficial to both parties.
Well, I'm going to buy my tickets for the Caps game on Ticketmonster.com.
There you go.
I really want to find out what's the deal with where that tweet came from.
No idea, but Rich, I apologize for doubting you. By the way, it was just so unbelievable.
It's par for the course. It's all good.
No, I didn't mean to do that.
Rich, I don't believe anything you say in emails or on the podcast.
Whatever, man. Whatever. I'm just happy you even read my emails. You don't even write to me, man.
Don't feel bad. Ask Andy. Ask Andy if you should feel bad about me not answering emails or texts.
I busted his ass today.
First of all, I hear my phone go off for a Facebook message, and it woke me up. And I looked, and it was after 2 text messages from him that I didn't hear.
You don't know how close your ass came to getting fired.
Oh.
First of all, it is pretty bad. It is pretty bad that you woke me up at 11:30 this morning.
No, it's
with
not
a Facebook
bad. I
message.
should have woke your ass up earlier.
No, I mean for me it's bad. I mean that I woke up at 11:30, and the only reason I woke up is because your ass Facebooked me.
Good. Next time I'm coming to your goddamn house.
That's weird.
People's elbow.
$27 a ticket. That's not bad. Row section 307, row P is in
For what? The Islanders Cap game?
Yeah, Islanders Caps, 7 p.m.
That's their lowest?
That's their lowest as of right now.
Do me a favor though, compare that like right now to StubHub.
I'm doing that right the hell now. Hold on.
Curious.
That's good to be curious.
Does StubHub? Do you guys know if StubHub charges any service fees or shipping?
Yeah, I think it's like $10 in service fees or something
They
like that.
do.
Yeah, it's like
it's
like
included
doing
in the
change.
price.
Yeah.
Their
It's
new thing
included
is
in
they
the
put
price.
it right on the main screen, but yeah, they charge.
See, Ticketmonster doesn't charge any service fees.
But it's embedded, I think, because these prices look a little high. Hold on. What the?
Can you get like instant download tickets on Ticketmonster?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
If you didn't do that, then it's not worth it. I wouldn't bother.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Hold your water for a second.
Oh, we're waiting. We're waiting for you, buddy.
$25 the average price, so it's equivalent.
Mikey, I agree with your tweet, by the way.
What, the one
So
I
the
just put
pri-
out?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So the prices, Rich, are equivalent to StubHub?
Yes, they are exactly the same. In fact, more because you have to get the service charge at the end. So the exact same
No, but
ticket.
to Mike's point, does StubHub charge you the service fee at the end?
At
or
the end. At the end.
No, it's in the price.
It's in the
It's in the
price,
price?
Mike?
It's up front. Their new thing is everything's included. So if you look at a price that's $50, it'll be like 55.
Ah, you're
72
right.
or
It says here
something
no
like that.
surprise fees, only good surprises. So it's $25.14 for 2 tickets, 311 row P, and 307 row P, $26.70, and Ticketmonster is giving it to me for $27.
Okay, so it's comparable.
Yeah, it's 30 cents off. All right, so it's perfect. That's good. All right, we're good. And I'll be going to that.
God damn it! I wish the Islanders weren't good this year.
Well, we're not yet, according to nobody else.
Yeah, well, apparently we are because last year I went to an Islander game for $4. What's this?
Oh,
27?
no, I know. Because my son's birthday is the 27th, and that's the day that the Rangers are at the Coliseum, and he wants me to take him. And of course, regular tickets are sold out already, and the lowest price is like $90. I'm seeing.
Really?
Yeah,
Wait,
That's
what
not
day
worth
is that? What day is that?
January 27th.
Email me after because my parents got a package and they refused to go to Islander Ranger games.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, my mom refuses to go. She hates being there.
Oh, because of the crowd.
It's
Yeah.
actually not as bad as it was in the 80s.
Because last year while they were at one of the Ranger Islander games, a guy from the section ahead of them turned around and handed their like 3-year-old kid to my mom and was like, "Please just make sure he's okay," because the two guys in front of him started beating the shit out of each other.
Are you serious?
Swear to God, turned around and handed his kid. They no idea who my parents were. My parents don't know him. He just turned around and handed his kid to my parents because he was too close to the fight.
That's
Wow, that's retarded.
That's just good parenting. You want to protect the kid, you know. And
Right,
set
that's
an
what.
example.
That's what I'm saying. Like but it sucks that it came to him having to turn around and hand his kid to strangers.
What is Reagan doing
What's
next?
Reagan doing? Wait, hold on, what did he just write?
Isles Twitter now, and the collective freak out on the social media network Twitter when the New York Islanders do anything remotely negative.
Bro.
What's Reagan doing? Where the hell is he?
Stamps it too. He stamps it.
I'm retweeting that.
He copyrights it with his hashtag at the bottom right.
I love Reagan. He's
Well, that's because too much of his stuff gets stolen on Twitter.
It does.
almost all his stuff gets stolen on Twitter. T. Kelman will freaking watermark everything.
I need him to create stuff for me so my Twitter account.
You don't
can
like the
look
Blackhawks jersey, Mikey?
No, I think they'd be better if they were Whalers jerseys is all.
I saw your tweet thing, Tom. It's
Whalers. The Whalers.
Reagan
The Whalers,
and he
man.
emailed us. Gonna need you guys to check out this tweet I'm about to drop.
Oh yeah. Shoulda saw
Hold on. Shannon Hogan. Bad news for the Ducks. Good news for the Isles. Corey Perry and Ryan
serious?
Getzlaf out with the flu and won't play tonight. Confirmed.
The
Jesus
flu?
Christ. Now if they don't win, the
Holy
place
the
is gonna
flu.
blow up.
Now hold on. This goes back to where was that Dallas? Where was that?
No. It was
That-
California. It
that
was the West
virus
Coast.
was going through the locker
Yep.
rooms.
Yep. It was. Wasn't it the Kings and the Ducks?
Yes,
Wasn't it the West Coast team?
Yeah, it was
a
the West
nasty
Coast team.
virus that they couldn't figure out. It wasn't the flu though. It was like a viral infection that they couldn't figure out.
Let me tell you something. The Islanders better sterilize everything.
We better go send Quincy to check it
I'm
out.
telling you, I'm serious.
Quincy,
It was
ladies and
bad.
gentlemen. That's an 80s reference for all of you youngins.
Wow, Perry and
No idea what you're talking about.
Let me tell
No
you. something.
idea.
Jack Klugman, man. Quincy.
I hate to say it, but this has just really become a must-win game.
Oh my God, Shane, stop saying that.
If the Islanders don't win tonight, there's no way they make the playoffs. The Islanders have to win tonight. If they don't, they suck.
Shane,
If the Islanders don't win tonight, I'll never be an Islander fan again. I mean, what? By the way, does anybody watch Sons of Anarchy?
no, Shane, but you were drooling all over Twitter about it, right? Was it
How
that?
do you guys not watch that show? You guys suck.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Awkward silence. I think my Chinese is downstairs, and you guys are keeping me up here, letting it get cold.
And there's more silence.
Where did Andy go? Is Andy still there?
Andy?
He's trying
Mike?
to break the Perry news.
I think he actually is, dude. I think you're right.
I'm waiting for his tweet. I'm waiting for his tweet to come out.
Yeah.
I hope he. I hope he
Be like everybody else and manually retweet Butch and then manually retweet Shannon and call yourself a reporter.
I hope Andy calls me out for saying this is a must-win game now.
I will.
Dude, you know what team you're betting on right now? You know the Islanders. That's a big, big ask if they don't win and you have to burn that Nelson jersey.
Oh, Andy just dropped. Where did Andy go?
He's flying to California, man.
He's going there to sterilize all the equipment and make sure that everyone's okay. That's crazy, though. I can't believe that. Oh, thanks, Rich. Thanks. Thanks. You know what, Rich? I thought we were friends.
No, we are. All right, guys. So I'm out of here so I can set up my TV so I can watch this stupid thing.
What stupid thing?
A hockey game? The
Oh,
of
there's a
hockey?
game tonight?
There's a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, you guys enjoy your evening. We'll be back here in a week, and hopefully a 3-game winning streak of some sort.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Always a big fan of your work. Shane,
All right, boys.
don't be a stranger. And thanks for sending me that link on how to do audiobooks.
Oh yeah, I know. Listen, text
Please-
me and remind me, and
I'll
I'll do
remind
it.
you.
I've been
All right.
I've been working my ass off. I'm sorry. I got like a semi promotion, and now I'm doing both jobs, and I haven't been home. So
All right, I understand, my man. All right, have a good night, everybody.
text me that way. I actually remember when I'm at my computer.
Got it. We'll do.
All right.
All right, guys. Good night.
Good night, Rich. Mikey,
All right, boys.
enjoy.
It's been
Hopefully
a
I won't
pleasure.
be. Hopefully I won't be eating my words later.
Good luck, man. Praying for you.
Hopefully I'll just be eating my Chinese food.
All right. Sounds like a good night.
See you later, Mikey.
All right, dude. I'll talk to you.
And